40 years later, one tractor still dominates used equipment lots across the Midwest. Walk any farm auction, scan in any dealer's back row, check any online listing, and you'll spot it. The same green and yellow paint, the same boxy cab, the same reputation that refuses to die. The question every farmer asks is, which machine from the 1980s actually earned the right to be called unkillable? This matters because the farm crisis didn't care about brand loyalty or marketing promises. Reliability meant survival. The wrong tractor choice cost everything: the farm, the legacy, the future. The machines that made it through that decade proved something no spec sheet ever could. Today, you're getting 10 tractors ranked by engineering truth, not nostalgia. Starting with the champion that set the standard every other manufacturer had to chase. Number 1. John Deere 4440, the unkillable archetype. The John Deere 4440 did not just survive the 1980s, it defined what reliability meant for an entire generation of farmers. Introduced at the end of the 1970s and built into the early 1980s, this machine became the archetype every row crop tractor got measured against. Its turbocharged 466 cubic inch six-cylinder diesel paired with Deere's quad-range or power shift transmissions, giving farmers a broad spread of usable gears without the finicky behavior of early electronic controls. The legendary SoundGuard cab, tight, quiet, and remarkably comfortable for its time, kept operators fresher and more productive. That mattered more than spec sheets ever show. A tired operator skips grease points, ignores warning signs, and pushes maintenance intervals. This bred reduced fatigue, which meant better care, which meant longer life. But the real genius was conservative engineering. The 466 engine was tuned well below its theoretical limits. Cooling systems were ample. Oil capacities were generous. Drivetrain components were sized with margin. Deere built this tractor to handle abuse, not just normal operation. Routine issues, an aging hydraulic hose, a weepy rear main seal, or a tired AC compressor were straightforward to address with common tools. Deere's dealer network made parts easy to source, which meant problems got fixed instead of ignored. That is half the reliability equation right there. Properly maintained, the 466 engine often ran thousands of hours before needing major work. Farmers loved the way it lugged. It was not a screamer, but it would pull a chisel plow or planter at a steady clip without drama. The tortoise approach to reliability: slow, steady, unstoppable. The transmission options proved equally bulletproof. The quad-range gave 16 forward speeds through a combination of ranges and gears. The full power shift offered seamless shifts under load. Both systems, when fed clean oil and regular filter changes, delivered decade after decade of service. The three-point hitch and hydraulics were robust without being complicated. The closed center system delivered predictable flow for planters and loaders. No mysteries, no special procedures, no dealer-only diagnostics. What gave this Deere its just keeps going? Reputation was the combination of all these elements. No single component was revolutionary. The magic was in the sizing, the tuning, the margins. Deere understressed everything, which meant components lived longer than their rated lives. Even today, you will spot these machines planting beans, running grain carts, and pulling augers. They are not museum pieces. They are still earning their keep on working farms. That is the ultimate proof of reliability. 40 years later, they are still doing the job they were built for. This tractor set a standard, conservative tuning, generous sizing, accessible service points, strong dealer support. That formula became the blueprint every reliable tractor of the 1980s followed, whether they wore green paint or not. Number 2. John Deere 4450. If its predecessor set the standard, this tractor was refined for mid-decade reality. Deere's 50 series update brought improvements in hydraulics, power, and optional mechanical front-wheel drive, which was becoming essential for wet springs and heavy draft loads. This model used the same stout 466 diesel, but with updates that improved efficiency and power delivery while maintaining that same slow-wearing character. Many operators consider this Deere the sweet spot of the era. It had enough horsepower to handle the larger planters and tillage tools farms were adopting, but it remained simple in the ways that matter when a season runs long and money runs short. 3 elements define this machine's reliability. First, the transmission options remained conservative and proven. Deere's full power shift had a reputation for durability with consistent oil changes and filter service. Second, the closed-center hydraulic system delivered predictable flow for planters and loaders, without the quirks of later high-complexity systems. Third, the SoundGuard cab and better mechanical front-wheel drive gave the tractor versatility. It could do row work, hay work, and heavy tillage without feeling out of place. Owners who kept coolant chemistry in check and did not push fuel settings beyond factory specifications found this model to be an honest, long-living partner. Treat it right, and it treats you right. Late in the decade, Case IH launched the Magnum series, and this flagship quickly earned a reputation that borders on myth. Farmers were skeptical at first. Mergers, new badges, corporate turmoil usually spelled teething pains and warranty headaches. Instead, they got one of the most durable powertrains of the era. It had a rock-solid 8.3-liter diesel engine mated to an 18-speed full power shift transmission designed to take punishment. The transmission did not ask operators to baby it. The engine's torque curve felt like a friendly hand on your back. Steady push, little fuss, all day long. Reliability here was the product of design discipline. Controls were thoughtfully laid out for long days, and service points were accessible. The electrical system, while more complex than earlier models, avoided the fragile modules that plagued competitors. The cab was a true step forward in comfort and visibility. Front axle options stood up to loader work and heavy drawbar loads without complaint. Magnums became the tractors farms bought to last, often handed down a generation, with nothing more dramatic than routine clutch pack service, brake service, and wear item replacements. Farmers trusted them to pull big discs, run sizable grain carts, and plant day after day without mood swings. They delivered. Number 4. International Harvester 1086. This machine is the quintessential early 1980s red tractor. Built in the late 1970s and widely used through the first half of the 1980s, it carried the durable DT 436 inline-6 diesel and a straightforward drivetrain that rewarded careful maintenance. International's cabs were not as quiet as Deere's, but they offered good visibility and functionality. This model developed a following because it was honest about what it was: a solid, hard-pulling machine that drank fuel at a reasonable rate and did not demand constant tinkering once sorted. Reliability notes center on the torque amplifier. Abuse the torque. Amplifier, shifted under heavy load without care, or neglect fluid and cable adjustments, and you will write checks. Treat it properly. Keep the linkage adjusted. Address a weak unit before it fails catastrophically. and this tractor will stack hours. The hydraulics were adequate for the implements of the day. The engine could take long pulls in hot weather if the radiator stayed clean and the cooling system was maintained. Many of these red machines are still on hay duty, running augers and pulling wagons. A testament to bones built right. Number 5. The Ford TW25. Ford's TW series brought the blue brand squarely into the big horsepower fight, and this heavyweight earned its reputation the hard way by refusing to quit. The machine packed a big block Ford diesel with a dual power transmission. No unnecessary complexity, just toughness. It was the kind of tractor you put in front of a heavy chisel plow and expected to come back in one piece. No drama, no excuses. Operators appreciated the straightforward cab, the visibility over that long hood, and the way the tractor felt planted on rough ground. Mechanical front-wheel drive models added grip for wet seasons and heavy draft loads, which boosted versatility across different field conditions. The reliability strengths were simple: a stout bottom end, generous cooling capacity, and service procedures that did not require mysteries or special tools. The dual power system, essentially a 2-speed power shift, proved long-lived with routine fluid changes and proper operation. Electrical gremlins were minimal for the day. The hydraulics played well with planters and wagons that needed predictable flow. Many Ford dealers had deep benches of mechanics who knew these machines inside and out, which meant problems did not linger. If you are looking at a Survivor today, the big questions are wear items, front axle play, ball joints, and tires, rather than scary core failures. Number 6. Ford 7710 Series 2. Not every reliable 1980s tractor was a big horsepower brute. Ford's mid-sized workhorse proved that utility and row crop tractors could be just as bulletproof, and arguably more essential to day-to-day farm work. With its proven 4-cylinder turbo diesel, a steady 8 or 16-speed gearbox with dual power, and optional mechanical front-wheel drive, this model was famous for doing everything. It fed cattle in winter, mowed and raked hay in summer, planted small grains in spring, and ran augers and sprayers in fall. Farmers valued that kind of dependable versatility as much as raw power. Reliability came down to straightforward engineering and a lack of drama. The engines responded well to regular oil changes and clean fuel. The transmissions were forgiving. The hydraulic system, while not exotic, maintained pressure and flow with minimal fuss. One underrated strength of this Ford is parts availability. The platform's popularity meant filters, pumps, and seals stayed on shelves. For small and mid-sized operations, or as a second tractor on larger farms, the 7710 earned its keep year after year, often with 5-figure-hour meters and original internals. Number 7. Allis-Chalmers 87 door. By the mid-1980s, Allis-Chalmers was fighting to maintain its place among the big manufacturers. To compete, Allis poured its best engineering into the 8000 series, with this flagship standing tall. Built from 1981 to 1985, this model represented everything Allis could muster to prove they still had the ability to produce durable, high-horsepower tractors. The machine was powered by the Allis-Chalmers 426 cubic-inch turbocharged 6-cylinder diesel, an engine with a solid reputation for reliability when properly maintained. Farmers who resisted the temptation to turn up the pump beyond factory settings found the 426 would run for thousands of hours with routine oil, fuel and air filter changes. The engine had a steady torque curve, equally comfortable with heavy tillage tools and large planters. The 12-speed power shift was a standout feature, offering smooth gear changes under load without fragility. The cab design finally closed the gap with Deere's Sound Guard, quieter, more spacious, and better laid out than previous Allis models. This tractor earned respect for its well-balanced design. The cooling system was more than adequate when radiators stayed clean. The drivetrain was stout enough to handle long days of heavy tillage. Daily service points were easy to reach, meaning farmers stayed on top of maintenance. If there was a catch, it was operator discipline. Respect factory settings, earn long service, overfuel or neglect it, and face problems earlier. Number 8. White 2155 Series 3. If there is one tractor that perfectly represented White's philosophy in the 1980s, it was this model. By that decade, White was not trying to dominate the horsepower race or dazzle with cutting-edge electronics. Instead, the company leaned on its reputation for practical, no-nonsense machines that simply got the job done year after year. This machine epitomized that workmanlike ethos. No flash, no gimmicks, just honest, workhorse durability. Under the hood sat a Hercules, 478 cubic inch inline-six diesel, a big-bore, naturally aspirated engine that was all about torque. It did not wind up like a turbocharged Deere or Allis-Chalmers, but it had a deep reserve of pulling power that made it perfect for tillage, planting, or heavy drawbar work. Farmers often describe the engine as lazy but strong, content to lope along at lower engine speed while still getting the job done. The Hercules was remarkably straightforward to maintain, with no turbocharger or exotic injection system to complicate matters. It asked for little more than clean oil, clean filters, and attention to cooling. Behind the engine sat White's signature over-under hydraulic shift transmission, a 3-speed power shift unit paired with a traditional manual gearbox. This setup gave operators the flexibility of shifting under load without introducing the complexity of a full power shift system. Reliability depended largely on how it was used. Farmers who treated the over-under like a race car shifter sometimes wore them out prematurely. Those who respected it, using it for sensible shifts under load, found it to be an incredibly durable system. The beauty of the design was that it could be serviced relatively easily if issues arose, and parts were generally available through the 1980s and into the 1990s. The axles and drivetrain on the 2155 were generously sized. White did not push components to their absolute limits, which gave the tractor built-in longevity. The hydraulic system was similarly straightforward but effective, delivering steady pressure and flow for planters, loaders, and wagons. The steering system stayed tight with routine maintenance, and many operators remarked that the 2155 felt predictable and planted in the field. Where this White really earned its reputation was in long-term dependability. Owners quickly learned that if you greased it, fueled it, and took care of small problems before they became big ones, the tractor would keep showing up day after day. Cooling and lubrication systems were generously sized, ensuring components stayed within safe operating limits. Electrical systems were minimal, meaning fewer gremlins to chase. White did not have the nationwide dealer network of Deere or Case IH, which limited the brand's overall footprint. But the farmers who did run White tractors tended to stick with them for life. There was a loyalty among White owners, born out of years of steady, reliable service. For those loyalists, this model was the poster child for what made White special. a tractor that did not pretend to be fancy, but instead focused on the basics of durability, serviceability, and value. Even today, many of these machines remain in service, especially on Midwestern farms where white had its strongest presence. They are not collector's items so much as practical, usable machines, tractors that still earn their keep 4 decades after they first rolled off the line. Number 9. Steiger Panther PTA. When it comes to sheer size and brute force in the 1980s tractor market, few names carried as much weight as Steiger. Built in Fargo, North Dakota, Steiger specialized in 4-wheel drive articulated tractors at a time when prairie farmers were opening up massive acreages and needed machines capable of pulling the heaviest implements available. The Panther series, produced in the early to mid-1980s, embodied everything Steiger stood for: strength and simplicity. The Panther PTA models were powered by industrial-duty Cummins or Caterpillar diesel engines, typically ranging from 300 to 400 horsepower. These engines were not farm-only designs. They were the same big cube power plants used in heavy trucks, construction equipment, and industrial generators. They were designed for extreme duty cycles and long lives under full load. Farmers often described them as virtually unkillable with proper fuel and lubrication. The drivetrain was overbuilt in every sense. Heavy axles, massive differentials, robust transmissions. The Panther could absorb incredible stress without flinching. These were not machines for constant shifting or delicate maneuvering. They were built to hook to a massive chisel plow, set the throttle, and run sunup to sundown across thousands of acres. Steiger did not waste time on unnecessary complexity. The hydraulic system was powerful enough to handle air seeders, drills, and other large implements, yet simple enough that pumps and lines could be serviced quickly in the field. Electrical systems were minimal, often amounting to little more than what was required to start the engine, power the lights, and run basic instrumentation. That lack of complexity was a blessing when downtime during planting or harvest could devastate a farm's bottom line. One of this machine's most distinctive features was its articulated frame design. The company perfected it, creating a tractor that could handle uneven ground and distribute its weight evenly across massive tires. The articulation joints were designed with serviceability in mind, and regular greasing kept them tight and reliable. From a reliability perspective, this Steiger was as close to bomb-proof as tractors came in the 1980s. Failures, when they did occur, were usually limited to wear items, U-joints, hoses, bearings, or seals. Major component failures were rare, and when they did happen, parts were often shared with other heavy equipment, making replacements accessible. Even today, many of these giants are still in service, often relegated to fall tillage or secondary roles. Seeing one chugging away behind a massive ripper is like watching a living museum piece, a reminder of an era when American-built steel giants ruled the plains. Number 10. Case 2294. The transition survivor. By the mid-1980s, Case was in transition. The farm economy was tough, and competition was fierce. The company was preparing for its eventual merger with International Harvester. In the midst of all this, Case rolled out the 94 series tractors, a line that quietly built a reputation for durability and dependability. Among them, this model, produced from 1984 to 1988, became a standout as a quiet hero on many farms. The machine was powered by a Case-built 504 cubic inch 6-cylinder diesel, a conservative but reliable engine, tuned for long life rather than maximum horsepower. Rated at around 150 horsepower, it struck a balance between being powerful enough for heavy tillage and versatile enough for lighter field work. The engine was not flashy, but it was rugged, starting well in cold weather and running for thousands of hours. With routine care, reliable design and serviceability were part of its appeal. The tractor's defining feature was its 15-speed power shift transmission, a design Case had refined over years of production. Farmers quickly learned that the key to longevity was maintenance, keeping the oil fresh, changing filters on schedule, and managing heat. Those who respected the transmission's needs were rewarded with thousands of trouble-free hours. The power shift offered smooth, reliable shifts under load, making the tractor efficient for both field and transport work. The cab was snug and well laid out, with decent visibility and good ergonomics for its time. Operators often praised the balance of the tractor, noting how stable it felt on heavy drawbar loads. This Case did not feel overmatched or delicate. It felt like a machine built to handle steady work without complaint. Reliability extended across the rest of the tractor as well. The axles and final drives were solid, designed to absorb years of hard use without catastrophic failure. The hydraulic system provided consistent flow and pressure, supporting the implements of the era without fuss. One of this model's biggest advantages was dealer and parts support. Case maintained a strong service network throughout the 1980s, and many parts remained available well into the 1990s and beyond. This meant that even as the tractors aged, they could be kept in top working order without excessive downtime. Today, this Case is still valued as a practical field machine rather than a collector's toy. Its combination of a strong engine, reliable power shift, and sturdy drivetrain makes it useful even by modern standards. These 10 machines shared one truth: conservative engineering beats cutting-edge complexity every time. The farm crisis proved which tractors earned their keep and which became yard art. Generous sizing, accessible service points, proven transmissions. That's what survived when survival mattered most. Deere's Champion set the standard. The others followed different paths to the same destination. Dependability, when everything was on the line. Which engineering philosophy matters most when your livelihood depends on it? Drop your reliability ranking in the comments. Subscribe for more iron history that separates legend from truth.